What's up, party people, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Dance Specific Talks. I'm T-zer.
This is Coach Sebastian. Hope everybody's doing absolutely fantastic. How are you doing, T-zer? How are you doing? How are you doing? It's been a minute.
We are getting to the end of the year.
Let's go.
This is my last week in Amsterdam, and then I'm gonna take off to Barcelona for 2 weeks. Yes, I am so ready to just change the environment a bit.
Yeah,
and
I hear you.
I haven't been to Barcelona since I was 19. Like, I worked a whole summer just to go 1 week to Barcelona and dance away all that money.
That's awesome. That dance all time, right?
Well, this was right after I finished my hip hop education in Denmark, and I went with one of my best friends there. And we just partied. It was like the one and only time I've only traveled to just like go to clubs every night, go to hostel, live in hostels. But now I'm going with my family, with little Chloe and Melly, and we're also gonna meet some of our best friends there. So yeah, I'm like super excited to just eat good food, and yeah, it's just nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, same. I'm getting a bit of island sickness over here, which is a real thing. If you never live on an island, that's a real concept. So I'm leaving this island next week, and I am going to another island, meeting my family. So my family is coming, and we're gonna travel to a third island. It's a lot of islands over here, but I'm meeting my family from Sweden, so it's gonna be amazing. And then the 1st of January, I leave to Spain, show workshop in Spain, record for V Dance Club, which is the world's biggest online platform for Latin dancers, Afro-Latin dancers. So I'm looking forward for that. And then we go to Andorra, and then we're back on the island. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited to travel a bit.
Yeah, so nice. So we're both going to Spain.
Yes,
just
sir.
Different parts. And yeah, I'm very excited.
How long are you staying in Barcelona? Sorry. How long are you staying in Barcelona?
2 weeks.
But when are you leaving officially? You're leaving
the 15th to the 28th.
Okay. I'm there from the 6th.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming the week.
Oh. Well. Yeah, no, I just feel like I talk a lot about the next year now, like the dreams and the dreams and the hopes and the kind of planning for next year is very exciting, and it's always scary to think about new pathways, we talked about this last episode as well, but I think that because of the end of the year, and especially here where things are slowing down, people are kind of getting ready for holiday, nothing much is happening, it's very cold, it kind of forces you to look inwards a lot more, and being a little bit more on your own, and all about being alone.
Yeah, don't I? Well, it's interesting. I think, like, again, when you are part of something, a family, a group of friends, as you are, the conversation, like you're saying, I speak a lot about next year. I can tell you right now, I have not spoken about next year until now. Like absolutely zero. It's just like, where do I go next week? What am I doing tomorrow? Like so next month, what am I? I'm there. So it's not like, oh yeah, it's the new year. And it's also when you live in a warm country. I think when you live in a warm country, it's not even a warm country, because here, if you go to the city, you see like Christmas lights and everything. It's just that when you're alone, you don't take part of the celebrations as much, perhaps.
It's also interesting. I talked today with a friend about the need of celebration and how we do not take triumph very much in what we do. And sometimes I wonder if that's like the cultural Swedish parts of us, like, for people who don't know, we have like this unwritten law in Sweden that you shall not brag. If you brag, if you are proud loudly of what you have done, accomplished, or achieved, you are literally like you will be bad-mouthed, not in your face, but behind your back, because it's also like a non-confrontal country. So everyone has opinions, but it's kept in their own house or between others. But it's something that I definitely feel I have a lot, like where you can celebrate things for everyone else, but when this comes to yourself, you shall do that quietly.
Yeah. It's
if if
interesting. I
ev-
talk a lot about that
if
too.
all.
Yeah, I talk about it with my students. I always say you have to acknowledge your wins. And I'm probably quite poor at it myself. It's one of those things I should definitely work on or apply more of my own coaching because it is super important. I always say that you can't build on top of wins that you don't acknowledge. So unless you acknowledge your wins, it's like how are you gonna? Because people spend a lot of time, a lot of money joining our programs. And I
Yeah.
always say that if this is just a Thursday, just a random Thursday that flies over your head, and it's like, oh, nothing interesting happened today. It's like, yeah, cool. Like then nothing interesting happened. But if you really, really, really acknowledge the fact that this is the biggest investment you've done in your life, probably for personal development, that is not like your house, your car, or like your yeah, then this is it. Then this is probably the biggest investment you ever made. So in yourself.
Mm,
So you have to acknowledge it because you can't build on top of it if you don't.
yeah. If you don't celebrate it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to like Christmas celebration and stuff like this, again, if you're if you're alone, like I'm not alone. It sounds like I'm lonely. I'm alone a lot, but I'm not lonely.
Mm,
And I live with my best friend, right? So it's but we both of us like we still do our own things. Um, so celebrations like Christmas and stuff like that, it's very easy for it to just be,
nothing.
nah, yeah, because it's always
Yeah.
me and him. Like it's always me and
Yeah.
him. This year, like he's probably gonna be with his girl, and my family's coming, so I'm probably gonna be with them. But even then, it's just like when you're not there with your family per se, and it's just like, oh, here's a new family, right? Like his girl, for example, is
Mm,
let's say, of course, I'm invited to sit there, of course, but it's like it's still not the same, so to say. So it's like, yeah,
mm,
okay, cool. I'm gonna be here for a couple of hours. It's not that it's like, oh, I'm with my like, yo, my family, and with my
mm,
mom. Like it's obviously a
mm.
difference.
Yeah. It
Uh,
is, and it is also very different from. So when it comes to celebration, there's a tradition to that, right? Like of, okay, so this celebration feels special to me because it was done in this way. It smells like this. It
mm,
feels like this. It um comes in this order or whatever it can be. And
yeah,
I think we were so much better at that before when we had, like, let's say we were living in a village or on an island or something, and we
yeah,
come together and it's like the whole thing of we are harvesting this, we're preparing this, we're
uh,
grilling this, and we're decorating like this, and then we have the fire like that, and then that's a everyone had to join in,
uh,
and that celebration is different. And now when I have comes to terms with, like, I have like excluded Christmas for many years out of my life because personally it comes together with a lot of other stuff of being like a kid of divorced parents and having to always travel a
yeah,
lot and kind of um people please a lot of people at the same time as nobody thinks is enough. So for me, the whole Christmas period is just something that I'm like, I'd rather go abroad.
yeah.
I'd rather not come. You don't have to think about me. I don't want any gifts. I just don't want to be caught
Part
in
of it,
that whole
yeah,
thing. And now I have a daughter, which I'm like, well, so now I have to. I am the barrier of these traditions that I grew up because there's nothing like that around here. So the other day I was like, oh, like nobody's gonna do that for me. No mom is gonna come. No family is gonna be around. I need to teach my daughter how I used to celebrate Christmas.
yeah, right.
And so I bought like there's a Swedish cafe here, and I wish you had it too in Cabo, where they had like basically made gingerbread dough. And you know, for
Nice.
Swedish people, we just like the fun part of making the shapes of gingerbread and like eating them, decorating them. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Bought my gingerbread, made the table, the kids, so just like eating most of it and shaping very little of it. However, it was just something that I realized like, oh shit, like I am now the barrier.
Yeah.
I am now the person who will teach her each and every single type of celebration and what comes with that because it's not here.
Culture and passing on um, celebrations and passing on culture in general is very interesting. Um, uh, like we spoke previously, right? Like this is the first time since I was 19 that I become part of a society and actually care about the society, and it's here in Cape Verde. Because when I was 19, I left Sweden. Before that, you don't 19. Like, what do you know about society? Like, you don't. You just exist in it. It's not that you know. Okay, but this happened, or like it's election. Like I voted once in Sweden and then I left, right? So it's not that you know like the societal changes that are happening, like whether it's politics or whether it's different laws or new highways or things of that nature. Like I have no memories of stuff like that when I was young, right? Basically. And then I lived in Norway for 7 years, and then you just live in a different country, and then, so you don't really take part of it in that sense, and you're still young. Then Spain, didn't understand anything, so I had no idea. Then Malta, Australia, same thing there. Like you're just part of it, right? You're just traveling, so you don't care about like politics in the country or traditions per se. Even though I really enjoy like local traditions, but now is one of the first times that I'm established in a society, and I actually understand and actually care about what's happening because yeah, I'm from here, obviously. um, but traditions in general are interesting because you bring on society brings small micro traditions whether you want it or not, right? And that can be anything from how you communicate with people when you are a waiter, or how you are dancing for the holidays or for different things of that nature. So it's always interesting to say about like what good traditions are you bringing, but then also like what traumas are you bringing that becomes traditions, right? Because like you're saying,
Mm,
it's like, oh, but I don't even fuck with Christmas because it's just me running around, and I'm exactly the
mm,
same. I'm exactly the same. So
mm,
it's like, okay, cool. Now my family comes to Christmas, but they're not gonna celebrate Christmas with like my family. So like if I really want to do it, like my natural instinct this year is to like, okay, first I'm gonna go to my uncle on my grandmother's side, and then so I'm gonna spend time with him and if I can, then I'll go to my cousin. So hopefully they are together, and if they're not, then just like I'm gonna go there, and then I'm just gonna jump in between, and then I'm gonna go. Okay, cool. But then I'm gonna go meet David, and then I'm gonna go and meet my other uncle who's on my grandfather's side, who has nothing to do with the other uncle, and then I go spend time with them also to meet their family. So it's like just my default is to just meet like 4 different families,
yeah,
or I just spend it alone. So
yeah.
there is no middle. There's like basically there is no middle grounds. It's just those two extremes. And
Mm,
now when you have time to, or now for now it's time for you to bring on that tradition. And the same thing goes with dancing. Is like how do I, when I come to new places, and like how do I dance? How do I cipher? How do I share with people? So
mm,
on the first island I lived in, which is called Sao Vicente, the way they do it is they play one song and you do a solo for the entire song, which means that if you're 5 people, you dance like once every 15 minutes. And I think that
mm,
shit sucks because that's not what I'm
mm.
used to. But that's what they're used to. That's the culture of dancing there. Right. But my culture is you do a minute. And if you go over a minute, people start to like, yo, like, bro, come on, like spin. We all want to do to this song. So yeah, culture is super interesting and just bearing traditions.
Yeah, yeah, it's also funny because wherever you go, you are a it's like collecting stamps.
Yeah.
You know what I
In your
mean?
passport.
Like you have in your passport or in like your stamp collection or whatever, like you can have like you are that puzzle, right? Of like, oh, I have this little stamp from from this type of hip hop, or I have this little stamp from the bachata people I hanged around, or whatever,
Yeah.
and you bring that in. So when you are dancing styles which you originally are not from, quote unquote, where like, okay, we come from a country where hip hop was not originally from, however, we now represent that culture wherever we
Yeah.
go because it's our foundation, right? And then we come into these couples dancing styles where we don't have to represent a new culture, but we have this hip hop thing with us.
Yeah.
And I think that that is also like why I am so strong in like I really think there's a space for everyone. I really think that what you are bringing, no matter what, where you come from, is so unique for some people. You just have to literally understand what you're representing, and that will be a unique puzzle, a unique footprint that can make other people relate and can make other people feel like they can do it too. And
Yeah.
so you have this constant sharing is caring, each one teach one. But again, that is because I come from hip hop foundation where like we continue to share the culture because it's something that if we don't share it, nobody's going to share it. The
Mm.
theaters won't share it. The education system won't share it. So we
Yeah.
have to be the barriers, you know, of that traditions and those ways of
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
things.
It's interesting. It's interesting how you because you still like yeah. It's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. And then you have personal traditions also that you carry with you. And it's like, yeah, but this is how I do my shit. Whether it's like
Mm.
just like morning routines or warm up or like, you
Yeah.
know, micro traditions on how what type of music you listen to, uh, macro traditions on how you know, do things. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. It's really, really interesting. I think more people should start doing personal traditions and hold on to them.
Mm.
I know personally, as soon as I stop doing certain things, it's like I feel like out of balance. So I journal a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, and been journaling like religiously basically for the last 4 years, 5 years, 5, 6 years even.
Mm.
Um, Before I was always scribbling, so I don't count that as journaling. But for at least essentially for the last decade plus a decade, I've used scribbling and journaling notebooks. But like now I have a specific way of journaling that I've stopped doing. I haven't done it for almost 2 months now, and I feel it. I feel a bit out of balance, to be honest. And especially when I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I should really go back, and then you don't for some interesting reason.
Okay, so now I have to ask you just because I'm curious, because I don't know how many dancers out there, including myself, who are not journaling. Um, in what way do you do it? Like, how is like, do you write to yourself, or are you writing like, so I've been thinking about this lately, or are you questioning like life, or like what
Interesting. Yeah,
in
good question. Good
how
question.
do you write it? Is it like today I thought, or like you have to get yourself together,
You
you
have,
know, like
yeah. I write more to me.
to
No,
you.
it's. I write. I'm gonna be honest. My journal is a fucking mess. my my journal is a fucking mess. It's like I write to myself. I can rant on myself. I can do like motivational talks to myself. I can just overanalyze the situation. Sometimes I just gotta get my things out. I just carry a lot of things inside me. I just need to get it out. It makes no sense. I write in English. I write in Swedish. For a minute, like I even mixing. It depends on what language I'm like thinking in. I write in. I remember I used to write in. I had some like Norwegian parts of it also. I for sure drop some Creole in mine also. So yeah, mine is all over the place. The only thing I have two rules. I have two rules when I write. One, I can't lie, and two, I don't judge myself.
Mm.
Because that's the whole part that like my journal is way more therapy than it is like remember things. So it's just that
Mm.
if I don't do it, which I haven't done for at least a month now, um, I feel a bit out of balance. I know that I'm not doing everything I'm supposed to do to feel mentally good.
That makes me think about that thing that I read
That,
about
that
what
thing.
feelings,
Yeah,
that thing, not the thong, the thing,
thing.
that I read about different emotions that comes up. You said like you feeling a bit unbalanced. Question is then what else is there? What else is hiding there in that unbalanced thing? And this is not a therapy session, so you do not have to share, but it makes me think
It's
about
a podcast.
this.
It's basically a therapy session. Don't worry about it.
um I just found this thing and I wanted to read it to you because it mentions feelings like anger, guilt, fear, shame, anxiety, regret, jealousy, resentment, and sadness. And obviously, those are hard. I would say, like, those are, I guess, the harder spectrum of our feelings rather than excited, intrigued, all of those things. This is like kind of what we're dealing with a lot when we are alone, most of the times, when we are maybe not getting things off of our chest. There are like emotions moving around inside of us, and sometimes it's hard to understand what those means. Like, why do I feel this guilt to move forward with this? Where does it come from? So I thought we could just discuss them a little bit, if that's okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so the first one is anger. And anger, according to this quote, says, look into what you are afraid to lose.
Interesting. So, so with that being said, so if I get angry by somebody passing me in traffic, so then then should look inwards to what I am afraid to lose. It's like, well, my life. But sometimes it's just it's also like it's just people are quick to get angry. People are quick to react, right?
Mm.
So then, yeah, what do you think? What are you feeling about this quote?
Yeah, but like, I didn't think about something happening in traffic, but more of like, if you just feel like angry and frustrated, over the way you've been treated or like the way somebody says something, or, then if I would have to look at what am I afraid to lose, then that's where it becomes like harder, right? Like, am I afraid to lose my pride, my self-respect, or is it like am I afraid to lose a um to lose an argument? Would it strike my ego if like if this person got away with saying something about me? I don't know. It's interesting to then reflect back on like, but why is that so quick to come up?
Yeah, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Good one.
Okay, I'm gonna take the next one. Guilt says you are not aligned with your values. Hmm.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, you're only feeling guilty yeah, if you broke your values.
Right? If you
Yeah,
lied,
yeah,
if you disappointed someone
yeah,
because you expect more of yourself as a friend or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's a good one.
Hmm. Fear says you are being challenged to grow.
Uh, yeah, is it that? Yeah, well, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Like sometimes, like things you are afraid of is that you are challenged to grow. Yeah, good. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I, I
To have
mean,
a
I
stage
mean, it's not,
frightening, have a fear
yeah,
of asking this person up to dance. Yeah, I agree with it.
it's not the same as like I'm chased in an alley, like
Oh no,
fear.
of
It's
course.
not that type, but more of like, oh my God, I will maybe have this dream, but I'm not going for it because I
Yeah,
feel fear.
yeah. I'm scared of failing I'm scared of going after my professional dancing career or joining this team because X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, good,
so
good.
far,
So far, so good.
shame. Shame says work on your sense of self-worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even because you can feel shame of, like, I feel shame of how I look, right? Like I look like this and I feel shame because I feel that I'm ugly, I'm not worthy. That is
Mm.
obviously like your self-worth. But then you can also feel shame once you've broken your values, right? Like I did that thing and I feel so much shame. But then you should also work on your self-worth, because just because you did this one thing does not mean that you are less worthy or whatever, right?
It defines you. Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? And also if you've been like like a victim of something, right?
yeah,
Like you feel shame because I should have screamed or
yeah,
I should have, you know, what we talked about before. There's so many innocent people that are victims
yeah,
to other things and other people. And like you carry that shame, which has like so much to do with that you connected this incident with your how much you're worth as a human.
exactly.
Mm. Mm.
It's interesting how you connect
Okay.
this one thing that happens to you, how that becomes who you are after. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Keep going. How many more is it? Two more.
Five.
Five more. Let's go.
Anxiety says learn to quiet your mind.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, spot on. Say less. Yeah, that one is spot on.
Yeah, I was about to say you have also more like I would
Yeah,
say more
yeah.
professional encounters with anxiety.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Not only in my work, but also in my day-to-day life. But that's all it is. That's all it is. Like once you understand how to control your mind and understand how you can move your thought patterns, or your thought trains rather, to different
Mm.
alleys and different tracks, then life becomes easier and you become less anxious.
Yeah, because the only thing driving you to anxiety is your own inner doubts, right? Like your
Yeah.
own worries, your own doubts, your own yeah.
For sure. That's it. That's all it is. That's what it comes down to.
Okay, the next one is regret. Regret says there is an opportunity to change course. Regret says there is an opportunity to change course.
An opportunity to change course. Well, I regret doing this thing because I know this thing comes with consequences. Well, then then I should change course.
Mm.
Yeah, powerful.
Or I regret that I didn't do this thing earlier,
Mm,
but that means there's an opportunity to still do it.
yeah,
Just you need to change the course then.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
good. Yeah,
Okay.
solid, solid.
This one is feisty. Jealousy. Jealousy says acknowledge your true desires. I think that's a tricky one because I feel like desires can be, you can think you know what you want and desire, but it's not it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you might desire to have all those things, or I need all those things, or I want all those things. But actually, it's just because other people have it, or because you're comparing yourself, or you're comparing your own journey that, you know, you should
Yeah,
have, or that's your actual thing. So I feel like this one is tricky because it could be that you are jealous of other people for things you actually do not really desire.
yeah. So when it comes to desire, and I believe that you shouldn't lean in too much to your desires. I think that you should focus on your will, because desires by definition is something that is innate inside of us and it just happens because of desire. But every time you give in to your desires, you are not in control. You are giving in to releasing of the will. And so there's a conversation between desire and the will. And desire says, do this, do as I say. And the will responds, no, I won't, because by doing so, I let control over who I truly am.
Mhm. I
So,
let myself get distracted
yeah,
of what I
exactly.
truly am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting though, because if you put this in jealousy in perspective of like the regular jealousy
Mm.
of like, oh, you're jealous at your boyfriend, girlfriend because that person talks with somebody or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
whatever it can be. Then acknowledging your true desires could be a good thing of like, I'm acknowledging that the reason I feel this jealousy is because I'm scared of losing my partner, which means I am like, actually, I'm realizing how much I desire my partner. However, the outcome shouldn't come through in jealousy. It should come through of let me admire my partner more, let me comfort or like let me really reassure my partner even more so that person will stay with me.
Yeah.
And, so it's hard because jealousy can come out in like the most unpleasant ways as well. So
Jealousy. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, especially when you're coming in social dancing, right? Like I've been together with the world's most famous bachata dancer, right? Shout out to Judith. Uh, Still great friends. Um, and I remember clearly, like first time, I'm like, oh, this is so new. This is so new. Like all of them are dancing with my girl. I have to stand in line to dance with my girl. Like this is super strange. Like like how do I navigate around this? I remember that clearly. I remember that clearly.
you
I
don't have
also
room for
no,
jealousy.
no. So you have to
No.
silence that voice. But I also remember the feeling like the feeling jealous of like, yo, but you're traveling all the time. Like you're never home. Like I get the
Mm.
tired version of you. They get the version of just, dress, makeup, beauty. Like, but once you come
Mm.
home, you're fucking super tired. And it's like I can't
Yeah.
blame her. She just been to China. You know what I mean? Like she just
Yeah, you
came.
would be the
Yeah, like
same.
I would be the
You would
same.
be
But
the
I
same.
still remember like a feeling of just like a feeling of jealousy or a feeling of like, but what about me? Or like, what about us?
Mm.
I remember that.
Mm.
I remember that a lot. I remember that a lot.
Mm.
But I'm
And
also,
again, you were obviously probably craving,
yeah,
that reassurance or that feeling of effort or something that she did probably the uttermost best to give you at that point,
yeah,
and it's just you are just not enough as a
exactly, right.
human being,
And it's so
uh
hard. Like I even like I know my my love language is just acknowledgement. It's like my love language is like all of them. I need you to show me that you want me, all of it. Fuck it,
so
touch,
needy.
talk. Like I'm not an easy
Affirm,
guy.
affirm me,
Affirm
acts of
me, I'm here.
service, gifts.
Like the worst thing I know is like I am was like, hey, like I call, why are you calling? Like, I miss you. It's like, I miss you all the time. I always miss you. It's like, but motherfucker, tell me. Tell me. If you don't tell me, my shit collapses. I start to doubt.
Uh, so which part of everything we talked about does this come into? Is this
I
anxiety?
I guess so. I guess so. I guess so. Like uncertainty.
Okay,
Uncertainty.
well, so it actually comes into the next one, which is resentment.
Okay, yeah. Okay, what's resentment?
Work on your victim mentality.
Yo, there you go.
Which is so true. Like, which is
I'll
so
tell
true.
you. I'll tell you.
I swear,
I'll
victim
tell you.
mentality, I always think that like that's not me, but there you are. You're tired, you
So
feel like you
hard.
have done so much, and you're
Yeah.
just like, can somebody else take responsibility?
Yeah.
You're just a victim.
I said it to David the other day. So I'm doing a lot of physio right now, physiotherapy. I've injured my back a bit, or a bit. I have. So this is when you live with boys. This is when you live with boys. This is what happens. This is the mind of a boy. It's like, I'm a bit little pain in my back. I've had pain in my back for like years, like muscular pain. Like I have a knot in my back that's like the size of my fist. And she's been working 4 hours on that thing and it's still there. So I do like cupping, I do acupuncture, uh, and she burns me. My physio literally burns me. She puts fire on a bamboo stick and she do this. And she holds it closer and closer towards me and blows it. And so I get so much pain. And the moment I can't take the pain anymore, I have to tap out. like I tap, I do this because I'm in so much pain that is like I can't take it anymore. And I've been doing that for 4 sessions. So it's on my hip, my lower back, and my upper back. So I have inflammation in my muscular inflammation and skeletal inflammation. And I told David, I'm like, because I'm in so much pain. Like I'm in pain. Like this is worse. This is fucking worse than getting tattooed. And tattooed, I hate it. So like, I tell David, I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have a girl here. Because if I live with a girl, bro, that would be it of my day. Like I just want to crawl up like a ball. Just need somebody to pat my ball then. I'm like feel like a victim. Just been abused with fire, literally being burned for the last hour.
Feeling so sorry for yourself.
Yo. And you with the boys, so you get no sympathy. They were just like, yeah, let's go to work. It's like,
Oh my God. You don't even want to like bring me some juice or something? Like, come
nothing,
on now.
nothing, nothing, nothing.
Go to gym. Shut up.
Yeah, but literally, 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 literally.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's female friendships and male friendships are very different.
Yeah,
Like
trust me.
very, very
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Okay, so resentment. Work on your victim mentality, man.
Yeah, I
That's
guess so.
okay. This last one is called sadness. Sadness say, pay attention to what's lacking.
But if I get sad because somebody hurts me, should I pay attention to what's lacking? Yeah, but what's lacking is like love, I guess, trust. Then I guess.
Mm, And then question is like, if you can't get that from that person that hurts you or like makes you feel sad, how can you get it in other ways?
But so
I
if
guess.
that's the first step, acknowledging, so these emotions comes with things to work on, then what? Okay, now work on it. It's like, okay, but resentment,
Mm,
cool. So I have this, I'm dating this girl and she don't fulfill my, what I feel is like my needs for like communication. So I start to resent her, but then I should work on my victim mentality. Is that it? Like, is
well, yeah, if that is actually
the truth?
you, I guess that the first step is
Yeah,
to just check yourself, right?
yeah,
And
yeah. The
these
first is to check
statements are is to check yourself. I'm like, okay, I feel sadness. Is it because somebody did something to me? Was it what the person said to me? Or am I lacking actually like real friendships in my life right now? Because somebody said something that wasn't personal and I took it super personally. But why is this the sadness I'm carrying is I feel lonely or that I feel misunderstood or so what is it that is lacking that has nothing to do with this person that I then need to look into and start actually acknowledging, and by me acknowledging that I can like either be like standing up for myself and saying yo like my self-worth is actually to not be treated like this, or it
yeah,
can be like, you know what, right now this is not working out because I need to be with people that actually makes me feel lighter and safe and you know whatever. Like you, I think that is these statements are just to kind of check first rather than pointing like, okay, I'm resenting you, something wrong with you, I'm angry
mm,
at you, you know, like I'm jealous at you, it's your fault. No,
yeah.
but what does first, what is it, you know,
First, what
yourself.
is it? But then on the flip side of that coin, there is also, it's like, yo, like this is what I want in now we're referring to relationship, but this is what I
Mm,
want in a relationship, but this is what I want in a partner. So
mm,
I know a very famous dancer who had real problems with her dance partner, and
mm,
she was always like, no, but is it me? Is it me? Like I don't know what's happening, but like maybe I should work on myself. Maybe I should work on myself.
mm.
It's like no, your partner is a fucking sadist. Is like, you know what I mean? Like, is that even a word? Sadist?
Yeah.
Sadist? Is that sadist in English? Is
Sadistic.
that like your
Yeah.
partner is sadistic? Like
Yeah.
it's your partner, it's not you.
Yeah.
So because again, that's a very fragile line to walk on, right? Because
Mm.
it goes back to what we spoke about previously. It's like I am I am the victim of abuse, and then but my default thought is just like, oh, but yeah, he's right. Like I shouldn't have worn that short skirt. Like
Mm,
okay, next time I cover myself up before I go to the dancing, uh, you know.
mm,
So there's a double-edged sword, which is with everything, which is there's just
definitely.
duality in dichotomies of life. But this is definitely filled with dichotomies.
Exactly. And I guess the idealistic way of going about it is like, oh, I'm feeling something. Let me first sit with that
First, check
feeling,
myself.
ask myself, check myself. It's like, is this something external or is this something internal? And then when I know what's going on internally, if I can then communicate that out either to myself or to the person that made me felt XYZ, and if that communication of I need this or this is my boundary or whatever, if that communication is not met, then it's back on you.
Yeah,
Then the responsibility is now back on, okay, you thought about it, you realized what it is, you tried to communicate it in a really good way. Now there is no resolution here, then you have a that's already your choice then. Like
yeah,
do you leave that then? Or are you like, what are you going to do with the situation? But that's an idyllic way that most of us don't always get to achieve. Um,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm very interested to hear, like, if anyone listening to this out there in the world, like, do you relate to these feelings? Does this resonate with you? And also, like, yeah, what we just talked about. Do you think it is a healthy way to go about it, or are there other ways that are better? Please comment below and like talk to us. We would love to hear from you what you think. Um, yeah, bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's time. It's time to move that soul.
It's time. So, Move That Soul is a game developed out of this podcast
Thank you.
with 70 questions that you can ask yourself or someone you just met or someone you've known for years, and you always guaranteed will find out something new about them and their dance journey. And the second part of the game is move cards. So if you want to like train your freestyle, you maybe want to have ideas for choreos, so you can play it with yourself. You pull a move card and pick a random song, or you play it with someone else where they pick a move card and you assign the song that they are going to do. For example, the card might say move like waves, or
It was the one I
um
pulled. I just pulled a
yeah,
move card. I just pulled a move card
yeah,
and said, move like water. I'm like, light work. And then
yeah.
you say it.
Exactly. And then the next one might be like, bring out your alter ego, or the room is shrinking, or um,
Pick an
you just woke
animal.
up,
Pick
or
it.
yeah, like
Pick one move.
some
Create variations. Moving energy ball.
yeah.
Go from big to small. Be grounded and heavy.
Yeah, so all of those cards can be applied on any type of dance style. So it doesn't matter if you are dancing solo or couples, or if you are into dance hall or Argentinian tango, it doesn't matter. It's kind of a challenge to just see if you can take your creativity out of the box. And when you get assigned a song that you maybe wouldn't have picked for this card, that's like the next level of creativity exercise. And you can do it in groups. It's really fun. You can also like ask several people to move at the same time to the same card and see how different they express. So it's really a fun game and perfect if you have like, if you're a teacher and you have students, you want them to get to know each other, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Love it, love it, love it. This is also the world's first card game for dancers. If you want to get one, which we highly suggest you do, and you this is what dancer that there's a dig deeper, you go to movethatsoul.com. Am I correct?
Yes, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, the other on there are a few card games out there, but they are like specifically for breakdance moves or stuff like that. So this is the only one that I have come across, which are for all styles, all levels, And I would recommend like from 16 and up, just because some questions are really deep and maybe not so suitable for kids, but you could definitely pick and choose. And yeah, so yeah, very excited. MoveThatSoul.com.
Nice. And Tom, I'm gonna pull the first card. And it says, what is a dance memory that always makes you laugh?
So is that a question to me or a
That's a
question to
question to
you?
you. No, that's a question to you. That's a question to you. That's a question to you.
Oh my God. Um, there are so many stuff that can happen, and especially during like a battle or um that can, yeah, with show outfits and stuff. So it's really, really hard to choose. But um for example, we had this show where we thought it was a great idea to wear boxing robes, those silky ones with like a strap in the waist. And we had like 4 counts to get them off. And we all
Everybody
had to
got
take
stuck.
them off while spinning into a new formation. And Manly's robe, like the band, just got into a knot, which he could not remove. So he, in the spin, have to undress and pull it down like a pair of pants while he's spinning, and like trying to get it down because it was like so tight. And it's caught on camera because obviously you do a show when it's a one take. And it's so funny to see the panic. And we all kind of see what's happening, but we can't do anything about it. So either he's going to have to dance the whole dance with his robe hanging off his ass, or, he's going to get it off. And we can't do anything about that. Um, yeah, so I have so many of that, like where like we had another member who he was gonna like just take a glass of water, and 2 times in a row before a show he managed to take what he thought was water, which was like pure alcohol.
I love it.
And like he is not a drinker, so what, it just became this thing of like, oh no, like did he just jug down like vodka, like accidentally? No. Yeah, so stuff like that can happen. But
I
yeah,
love
so
I
many,
love when
so
that
many.
happened. I love when somebody drinks something thinking it's something else because it's such a mind fuck.
So sad, especially when you are like a pure non-drinker. Like you just, yeah.
I dated a girl for a while who was a non-drinker, and I had you have Cape Verdean grog, which is just pure rum, which is 47 point whatever uh, percentage alcohol rate, and she goes up in the middle of the night. So I'm like half waking up because her goes up, and she goes to the kitchen table, and I just hear this. And she opens a bottle, and then I just hear. Because she thinks it's water, but it's not water, it's just pure alcohol.
Oh my
And
God.
I just in bed dying of laughing because I understand straight what happened. And she's like, and then she's like, I couldn't sleep the whole night. I got drunk, blah blah blah.
Oh wow. Wow. That's what the thing. Like you and those, there's just plastic
Yeah,
bottles. You just have no idea.
yeah, it's give or
No
take.
idea.
All right, next one.
Okay.
Ask myself, if finances were not an issue, what would you do differently in your dance journey? If finances were not an issue, what would I have done differently in my dance journey? Well, I found, would I do anything differently? Because I felt I moved. That's like I didn't care.
Sidewalks.
I probably would have stayed longer doing battles, but I'm very glad I didn't. I'm
Yeah.
very glad I did not. Um, if finances were not an issue, what would you do differently in your dance journey? You like, I wouldn't change anything. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't do anything. Like, I would probably try to go to perhaps, but I did it. Like, I went to LA, I went to New York, but maybe if like I had like unlimited balance on my accounts, right? Like I would probably live in those more expensive metropoles and give dancing a try there. Because I
Yeah.
remember living in Scandinavia and crushing it as a model and as a dancer. Um, so if I had like unlimited finances, I would probably take that and go to LA and New York and stay longer.
Mm.
Because I
And just see
went,
what would happen,
yeah, but
with
I
your
went,
career.
right?
Yeah.
I did that, but I didn't stay long, because of
Mm.
finances.
Yeah.
Probably. I didn't like LA as a city. I think, and I think New York is kind of like a rat hole, honestly. So I don't like that city neither. But I would probably go to, yeah, like live in South Africa, perhaps. Modeling is huge there. See what I could do with my dancing in that space. And again, I don't like New York or LA, and it's probably because of my living experience. But if I had again unlimited finances, then that city is probably awesome.
100%.
So yeah,
Yeah.
probably that. Yeah.
Mm.
What about you? What would you do?
Um, I would probably do like I would set up more performances of like
Mm,
I would love to do like a theater piece, but there's always this thing of like, but how are you gonna pay people? And then you're gonna pay for lights rehearsal, and
yeah,
then like you get stopped a lot along the way of like if I could have unlimited access, I would just like okay, for the next 6 months, I'm creating these performers, and like I bring in these artists, and I like hire a director. Like I would do stuff like that just because I
yeah,
love to perform. I see so many unused talents all the time where I'm like, oh, I wish I could have the money to just pay this ensemble of dope ass dancers and do things, but just the hassle of like applying for funds, and then you only did have that for like 3 months, and you can never like sustainably built on it. So I think that I would love to do that. But I'm thinking always like, how can I still do that and like take it down
yeah,
to a like limit where it's doable, but yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. But if I had unlimited, like, I think it could be so dope to create
yeah.
like
And even now when we're talking
things.
about it, it's like just creating it gets me inspired. Like again, I'm thinking about my dance journey, and my dance journey again, going back to what we spoke about previously, is a solo dance journey. Like
Mm,
I'm dancing solo. I'm doing these journeys alone, even if I have been traveling with people. So like when I dance with Bachata Sensual a lot, like when I say like I dance with Bachata Sensual, it's because I dance with Bachata Sensual, the company. It doesn't mean that I did Bachata Sensual. I still did hip hop and body isolation on this big festival. Now I'm
mm,
traveling. If I go to Spain, it's like, of course, I meet a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends over there and a lot of associates, but I still go alone, like I still prepare alone, doing these things. So it's like, if I could, I would probably bring at that time, like, I would probably bring like David with me, like my best friend. I would probably, if I had like, again, unlimited finances, I would do more shit with you guys. I would
mm,
probably like connect myself to a group of people more versus like my thing was presented to me as a solo dancer, and my journey
mm,
was presented as a solo dancer. Then it's just like, well, like this is what takes me around the world, so I'm just gonna keep going, you know.
mm. Yeah.
So yeah, the collective part, I believe.
Mm.
Great
I think it's
questions.
important to ask
Yeah.
ourselves these questions because it could still fuel ideas
Uh-huh.
of, okay, so I don't have it, so what can I do that are closest as possible
Uh,
to it? Um, and maybe it's just, in my case, to organize something in my living room where everyone just gets to perform
yeah,
something every 6 months just for fun. Like it doesn't
exactly.
have to be an entrance
Like a
and
tiny desk for dancers.
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Like it's a great idea. No?
Mm,
Uh,
mm,
call
yeah.
it, call it. Move that,
Tiny floor.
move that soul, move that soul.
Yeah. And you only get 4 by 4 square meters or two by 4 square meters.
Literally in a corner in T-zer's living room.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Deal
love
with
it.
it.
I fucking
I
love it.
mean, if the biggest artist in the world can squeeze in behind a small desk, then why couldn't dancer? Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Magical
I like
idea.
it too. Magical idea. Love it.
Familia, thank
So
you
many
so much for
ideas.
this conversation. If you're still watching, we need to hear your feedback because we're making this not only for ourselves but also for you guys. If you're still watching, still listening, let us know what you think, your thoughts, the topics. We would love to hear what you have, what topics or what topics that came up in your mind after hearing these, especially the emotional things. I think that part was very interesting. If you want to get your own copy of Move That Soul, remember Christmas time is right around the corner. This is again the world's first card game for dancers that are not only for one specific styles. These are for every style. You get to know yourself, you get to know your dancing, you get to know your crewmates better. Go on movethatsoul.com and welcome to Dance Specific Talks. We'll see you guys very soon.
Don't forget to click subscribe, comment below, and give us a rating or review. We have a Facebook page, YouTube page, and we are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and all the other podcast platforms. We also have an Instagram, so don't forget to tag us in your favorite episode and share it with the world because we read all of it.